Ben McCollum's Hawkeye era has officially begun, and what a debut it was. Iowa drops 101 on Robert Morris, cruising to the win. Fast, sharp shooting, a lot of defense, and a whole new energy in Carver Hawkeye Arena.
You are Locked On Hawkeyes, your daily podcast on the Iowa Hawkeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome in. I'm Trent Condon, and this is the Locked On Hawkeyes podcast. Thanks for making Locked On Hawkeyes your first listen every day. We are your daily Iowa Hawkeye podcast as we come to you after Iowa's big win against Robert Morris in the Ben McCollum era. Glad to have you aboard with us. I've been covering the Hawkeyes for over 20 years on the radio here in the state of Iowa. Multitude of different shows throughout the years. Currently, I'm on the Iowa Sports Radio Network, and you can hear me each weekday from noon to 2, covering the Hawkeyes and a whole lot more with stations in Des Moines, Sioux City, Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, and the Quad Cities. Let's get into it. Iowa 101-69 over Robert Morris. Iowa easily covers the 22.5 point spread. A dominating performance out of this squad, and it starts obviously with the man at the top, Ben McCollum. So when he's hired, going back to April, and the decision is made that I was moving on from Fran McCaffrey, it was the right choice. You saw a fan base that had checked out on the head Hawk. You saw, even with all the accomplishments of Fran McCaffrey, it felt like they had just hit a ceiling as a program. And breaking through that ceiling at times seemed impossible. Even in a crazy place like the NCAA tournament, getting to that second weekend is something that couldn't be attained. Todd Licklider obviously couldn't do it. Steve Alford couldn't do it before him. It's been a long time, as we've talked about a ton. And you everydayers, you certainly know about that, as we've talked about, reminiscing about the past and what Iowa basketball was. Iowa has the guy that can bring this back. Iowa has the guy that can get them back to a level, not yearly, not every single year, but this is a basketball savant. When people talked about Ben McCollum, before he even made the transition to D1 last year at Drake, when he was at Northwest Missouri State and winning national championships. And if you ever watched any of those national championship games, just talk to people in the community. Ben McCollum is known as just one of those guys that is wired differently. And when it comes to basketball, he has that passion. And that passion showed up again this evening in an opener against Robert Morris. We're going to see the gold ties are going to be handed out. And as we saw, they were. And one of my buddies got a handle on, a couple of them, in fact. Saw a couple of pictures floating around on that. This is going to be a thing. And he is going to connect with this fan base. He is going to be exactly what Iowa basketball needs to get them back to relevancy. We've had good teams. We've had good years. But we're waiting for that breakthrough moment. Honestly, I was disappointed, less than 10,000 people in the stands. I was among the people that didn't show up. Now, my son also had a basketball game last night, so that had something to do with it. But I'll tell you, I'm going to be getting to Carver a lot. The energy is returning. And though it wasn't a packed house in the debut, it was a passionate group. And to see Ben McCollum multiple times imploring the fan base to get on their feet, to change what men's Iowa basketball has become, this is what they need. Now we get to the game and the defensive intensity, just the absolute want, not the skill, the want on the defensive end of the floor. Because so many times during the previous 16 years under Fran McCaffrey, wasn't that they weren't athletic enough. Like, we've seen less athletic teams than what Iowa's had be able to play defense. It was they weren't coached. They weren't given the skill set necessary. That's not going to be a problem with Ben McCollum. He is going to do everything possible to get those guys in there to have that want, to dig deep, to go out there and do the things that aren't very fun. That's what you get out of Ben McCollum. And you do it by getting guys to buy in. And that is a group that is bought in. And we talked about the two secret scrimmages against St. Louis University and against Texas Tech. Iowa lost both those games. But McCollum's also told us he used his exhibition a little bit different. And this is a Robert Morris team that was an NCAA tournament a year, was an NCAA tournament team a year ago. Now, they lost Alvaro Fulgaris. They lost all their starters from a year ago. Still, coach that have been there for a long time, has had a lot of success. They've transitioned a bunch of different leagues. They're in the Horizon League now. But this is a almost perennial tournament team. Good program. And you ran them out of the gym. I mean, just racing out to the start that they did. Carver, little energy back behind one of the baskets at least. And that will be the that'll be the basket that we see that is going to go what the opponents will be going to in the second half of games. I'm fired up. I really am. I look at this group. I look at this squad. I look at high-level basketball. Getting that energy back, yes, that's important. But just seeing them do those little things, the extra passes. I mean, how many times? When you go through and look at this game, and Iowa, gets an assist on 21 of their 29 made baskets. They get to the free throw line and not just get there, knock them down. 36 of 44. Yeah, 21 assists in 29 field goals. This might have been my favorite note from the great James Allen, the sports information director for Iowa men's basketball. How about this one? I mean, it's just one of those notes that it put a huge smile on my face. 101 points. People are talking about pace, how things are going to look a little different. Well, this team, efficiency-wise, was through the roof. But this is the note in this one. Iowa opens with the win. McCollum is the third Hawkeye head coach to register 100 or more points in their debut, joining Ralph Miller and Lute Olson. Yeah, I get it. The opponent, not great. Friday night against Western Illinois, they're going to be even worse. Next Friday, a week from Friday, though, against Xavier, things are going to start to ramp up. Here we go. We talked about the coach. We talked about the program. Let's talk a little bit about the players. We'll do that as we come back here. Rapid reaction after Iowa's win, 101-69 over Robert Morris, as Iowa gets the debut win for Ben McCollum. We'll talk about All-American Bennett Stirtz. What a performance out of him. And I think an eye-opener for a lot of people that didn't see him a season ago at Drake. We'll talk about the players. We'll talk about the performance here. Rapid reaction. Also coming up on Wednesday, we will have a full episode. This one's going to be a little bit shorter today than our normal episode. Todd Brommelkamp is going to join us. That'll be coming into your feed a little bit later on Wednesday. Just wanted to give you a heads up here. This one, a little quicker podcast as we react to the Iowa victory. Stay right there. We continue with more Locked On Hawkeyes. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers with every ride, with more IIHFS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same attention into how they craft every model. Look, your car, it is a part of you. You're in it every day. You're taking the kids, you're taking the family, you're doing different things. Maybe you're solo. Whatever it is, though, it is a part of who you are, and Mazda delivers what you're looking for. They can make every drive feel like anything but a everyday normal drive. Smooth handling, great control, what you're looking for in a vehicle. And with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's episode of Locked On Hawkeyes is also brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. This is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. I love using Peloton. Hop on the bike, get there, find somebody that you like, find that instructor that can just motivate you, get you driving, get you going. And another thing that is great now, the swivel screen, an absolute game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. Absolutely love that with Peloton. Set yourself up and let yourself do what you want to do to push yourself forward. Run, lift, flex, all there. Explore the new Peloton cross-training tread today at onepeloton.com. That's onepeloton.com. Trent Condon back with you once again. Rapid reaction after Iowa gets the win against Robert Morris, 101-69. Thanks for joining us here. Let's talk a little bit about the players as we go through and break down what we saw in this one. Obviously, I think we all know what we have to do and the way we have to start things up, and that was a play of Bennett Stirtz. Another just incredible performance. And I know there are plenty of people that didn't watch a lot of Drake basketball last year. I get it. I'm here in Des Moines, part of what we do also. So they're always part of the mix. I watch more Drake basketball, I'm sure, than a lot of people. That is just more of a casual. Watching him at the beginning of last season, you could tell there was something special with the guy, just something that did look different. He controls the pace of the game so well. He's not going to be rushed. He's not going to be hurried. He's not going to get in tough situations. He is going to play the game the way he wants to play the game. And he is the embodiment. Now, the other part, so the dunk, which was amazing, right? Throw it up, Cale Combs with the alley-oop, boom, two-hand flush. And had the game on, we're putting away laundry. I mean, again, domesticated life, right? Putting away laundry upstairs as the game's on. And my wife kind of turns her head. Yeah, that's the point guard. This is a different type of point guard than what we've been used to recently. He's 6'4". He's stronger than you think. The shooting ability, you saw the step back three as he lost to the defender. But he also goes in the post, and he'll bully there. And there's going to be some smaller defenders this season that are going to learn. He's so good. And, when you see a guy that started as a D2 player, hasn't played power conference basketball, showing up as he did on the NBA draft list. And not because of the upside as a 18, 19-year-old kid, but as a guy in his early 20s, it's something you don't see. But there's something special. And that's why we go back and we talk about those expectations, right? Why my expectations are so high. Iowa hasn't had a point guard like this in an incredibly long time. And if he plays at an All-American level, we're not just talking about getting to the tournament. Our sights are going to be a whole lot higher than that. Just saw 13 minutes out of Cam Manoir as he was out there, got involved right away. They went to him a ton, and he showed what he's going to do. Let's see, what else? Starting lineup. Oh, that was another thing. Starting lineup was a surprise. I thought Fool Garris was going to be in there. He wasn't. Played 18 minutes. I thought we were going to see Brendan Housen, and he was not out there. In fact, he didn't make his debut until late in the first half. Tate Sage played a little bit more, I think, than a lot of people saw. But you had Manoir, Koch, Tavian Banks, Bennett Stirtz, and Isaiah Howard. That was your starting lineup. Four of those guys, Drake guys, understand exactly what McCollum wants. And then you got Cooper Koch, the lone holdover of the scholarship guys, as the other player that was out there. This team has got different pieces. Urok got out there every day, as you know, my affinity for Trev, and watching so many of his games, getting to know his family here in West Des Moines over the last 3 seasons. And he's going to have to help. He's going to have to be a big body that they're going to have to rely on at times. Now, foul trouble hits, those kind of things. Shot the ball much better. But that was, I think, also, you saw them making that extra pass, doing the things that Ben McCollum coach teams do. 7 of 15 shooting the ball from the outside. That was eye-opening. Isaiah Howard, I think you saw a little bit of his athleticism. Cale Combs, too. And watching him last year as the backup point guard to Drake, nice piece. And there's not a ton of minutes because, as we saw, I mean, Stirtz didn't leave the game until there was 5 minutes left, and it played every minute up until that. He doesn't want to leave the floor, and I don't think coach wants him to leave the floor very often either. But Cale Combs is very competent. And when he comes in, you can put Stirtz then off the ball a little bit and do some different things. And that's another thing that McCollum's going to do. He's going to be pushing a lot of buttons. Team is incredibly efficient. Speaking of those efficiency numbers, so I was looking at this after the game. I want to see if I can still find that number that I had popped up here. Oh, yeah, here we go. So you will hear me talk a lot during basketball season about efficiency numbers. I am a disciple of Ken Pomeroy and Bart Torvik and the analytic sites that are out there. I try not to bog things down too much for you, but points per possession, very simple, right? Points per number of possession. 1 is average. Iowa's been very good at this metric, and a lot of people were concerned, well, it's going to be this slow down pace. What's this going to look like? Iowa scored last night 1.53 points per possession. That's elite. Regardless of what kind of defense you were playing, that is an elite level. And if they play at elite level offensively, yeah, you might not be scoring 85 points a game. It might be in the 70s. But guess what? Winning basketball, coupled with what you do on the defensive end, that makes it so different. Just watching that team rotate, hedge, screen, hand up, all the things that you look for in a defensive basketball team, and they were absolutely able to do that. So there we are. Iowa gets the win. Told you, a little bit shorter here. We got more coming up for you on the feed. Make sure you hit and subscribe if you watch us on YouTube. That'll let you know whenever there is a new episode coming out for you. We are your daily Iowa Hawkeye podcast here. Quick one, rapid reaction as Iowa gets the win over Robert Morris. We'll talk to you again later on Wednesday. Until then, go Hawks.